Rough night down at Rogers Place as the Oilers close out their homestand with a 5-1 loss to the Florida Panthers. Not a lot going right tonight in Oil Country. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream postgame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola with you. Matt Kassian will be joining us shortly. YouTube Trev holding things down back at EST HQ as the Oilers drop their second of this 6-game homestand, which concludes tonight, and we're certainly going to break this one down as the team now hits the road for 3 straight before the Christmas break, and then we'll be back on the road, so they won't be at home for the next few weeks. You can get in on the conversation, 780-218-9999, if you're listening to the audio stream or if you're listening to the show on the TuneIn app. We appreciate you. Maybe you're making your way home. And from the amount of people that were leaving with about 9 minutes left when I made my way from the rink to get to the home studio, I think a lot of people are probably home by now because they wanted to beat the traffic as that game was well in hand for the Florida Panthers as the third period even begun. The Oilers couldn't get the swing back in the other direction. Had a chance, though, when Sam Gagner had that penalty shot opportunity and then the Florida bench took the penalty. That could have been, if the Oilers converted on the power play and Gagner scored on the penalty shot, could have been a 2-goal swing, made things interesting. Alas, it was not meant to be. So get those texts in, 780-218-9999. And in the nasty chat, if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, appreciate that as well. As always, nasty chat, do your thing. Be well to each other. Let's get a little snippy out there. And also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up on the video. I know you don't like the result of the game, but we appreciate the thumbs up on the video. All right, let's go into the game story from tonight, and then we'll get to Matty Kassian, who's like he's getting all set up and ready to go, and we will rock and roll. In the first period, Florida gets on the board relatively early, 5:33 into the game. Carter Verhaeghe, his 14th, continues to play well. He's been a great pickup for the Panthers the past couple of years. Sam Bennett and Oliver Ekman-Larsson with the assist on the Verhaeghe goal. And I'll be asking Cass about the breakdown there, who didn't pick up their man. Brandon Montour would add to the Florida lead to make it 2-0 at 18:58 of the first period. Verhaeghe the assist, Bennett the other, 2-0 at that point. And then another one shortly after that, about 31 seconds later, or actually 29 seconds later, Alexander Barkov, his 11th from Sam Reinhart and Oliver Ekman-Larsson to make it 3-0 Florida. So 2 goals in the last minute and 2 seconds that the Oilers allow. That's no bueno ever. And they're down 3-0 going into the second. In the second period, Zach Hyman would give the Oil a little bit of life. 8:08 into the second period. He gets a 18th goal of the season for Hyman to make it 3-1. Nugent Hopkins with the feed, and McDavid with a nice play on that one as well to make it 3-1. But at 16:01, Sam Bennett extends the Florida lead back to 3 goals. His 4th of the year from Montour and Bobrovsky on the power play. And in the third period, Verhaeghe would get his 2nd of the night, 15th of the season from Matthew Tkachuk to make it 5-1 Florida. That goal coming just 21 seconds into the final frame. Shots on goal at the end of the night, 39-39. Face-off percentage, the Oilers were excellent on the dot, but they didn't convert the possession. When they did get opportunities, which they did create, to their credit, Bobrovsky made some excellent saves. So 62.9% to 37.1 in favor of the Oilers on the faceoff dot. Edmonton goes 0 for 2 on the power play and goes 1 for 3 on the PK. So not a good night on the special teams. Hits 37-23 in favor of the Oilers. Block shots 14 apiece. Giveaways officially 14 for Edmonton to 9 for Florida. Takeaways 7 for the Panthers to Edmonton's 5. Let's get our game analyst, Matty Kassian, in here. as the Oilers fall 5-1 to the Panthers. Cass, not a good night. Absolutely. The result sucks for Oiler fans, for sure. There were moments in this game, it seemed like, where Edmonton had some opportunity that they created. Bobrovsky would make saves, and then it felt like in their own zone, the Oilers were running around a little bit, missed checks, missed assignments. Is that how you saw it? Is that a fair assessment? What would you say about tonight's loss?
A lot of missed assignments in the defensive zone on a multitude of goals. Really, the first three, and we can break a couple of them down here.
That's
in a few minutes. That is story number one. Story number two was you had Bobrovsky that made key saves in key moments. Absolutely huge saves in key moments that really could have swung the game from a momentum standpoint. I mean, you look at that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, that glove save on Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in the first period, that puts the Oilers up 1-0, and all of a sudden the Florida Panthers, who have been struggling to score goals, who have been lost the last two games, all of a sudden, they could tighten up a little bit. And we knew that they were going to be hungry. We knew that they were going to come out with energy, which is exactly what Florida did. And that first goal if Ryan Nugent-Hopkins converts on that, which again, it was a spectacular save by Bobrovsky. If he converts on that, it's a different game. And he makes a couple other big saves over the course of the night too. So those to me, that's the two big parts to this. Is you had a whole bunch of defensive breakdowns that hurt you. And second, you had a goalie that made some saves on the other side. Now, you put those things together and you lose a hockey game. I mean, if Bobrovsky doesn't make those saves, well, maybe Florida doesn't have as much momentum. Maybe you're able to settle in and play a little bit better defense. But Tommy, it did, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, but it really felt like the Oilers didn't have any kind of jam till about 10 minutes into the second period.
Yeah.
Then they got some momentum. Then they score a goal, and it started to feel like they were building something, and then it falls apart again.
I made a note of it watching the game. I said that in that first period, it seemed like the Panthers had really good zone time and a lot of good possessions in Edmonton's zone. Like the Oilers were kind of one and done in the Panthers zone early in the game. And then coming back the other way, they were getting hemmed in, and, they did miss assignments and
lots of turnovers too.
Lots of turnovers.
They were throwing pucks away in that first period.
Draisaitl, the puck looked like rarely does this happen, but the puck looked like a grenade on his stick, and I think one of them led directly to a goal. I think it was a third goal. I mean, we're gonna break these ones down, Cass, because it felt like there were a few breakdowns that were reminiscent of early in the season in this game. And when I'm thinking which goal that was where Draisaitl lost his man, I think it was the Barkov. It was
goal number one.
Oh, and then Verhaeghe. Well, actually, yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's go into this Verhaeghe goal, because the note I made was Draisaitl, Foegele, don't check Verhaeghe on Panthers goal. And I think it was Foegele that actually got back and tried a stick lift on Verhaeghe, wasn't able to. And it was Draisaitl who was with Verhaeghe at the top of the circle, worked his way down. Half-heartedly, I think, is a fair way to describe it, and Verhaeghe just managed to bury it. How did you see that one?
Two problems in that one. The first being is Draisaitl's guy, and as a centerman, I mean, you have to stay in between him and the net.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have puck possession. You have to stay between Verhaeghe and the net, and he does a little turn and gets caught in the backside and then isn't able to get back.
Right.
Now, Foegele has a part to play in that as well, although it's secondary. It's secondary. That's not his guy.
No.
Secondary is that he does a little TV turn to the outside.
And then hustles back.
He hustles. Yeah, he hustles back. But his little turn before he recognizes the danger is to the outside of the ice.
Right.
Now, that's like a classic, coaches will say stops and starts in the defensive zone. That's a stops and starts issue. If he stops there, he's two steps closer. And he really does. He takes himself out of where he's supposed to be with that little turn. And then he recognizes the danger, but he's one or two steps too far away. Because if he's got just, Tommy, one step closer and he can impede on that, he can get a stick lift in, he can get, try to get a piece of the puck and to interfere with the shot. But because he does a little turn, he takes himself out of position. Now, again, he's a secondary problem on that. Draisaitl's the first where he doesn't stay in between the net. Second goal was actually a similar issue, except it was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins who just sleepy at the point. falls asleep at the point and ends up getting walked where he just doesn't recognize that there's danger stepping by. And I think this was the first time in a few games, maybe a little bit against Tampa, I guess, but the first time in a while they played a team that really had some jump from the defensemen.
Yeah.
Like Florida did a really good job in the offensive zone of being active. Now they got that because they had good puck possession time. Edmonton turned the puck over a whole bunch of times, particularly in that first period. And Florida's D were active. Like they were consistently jumping in. And I mean, those two plays, I know it's not a defenseman on the first one, but it's a player coming from the point, and another player coming from the point in the second one where the puck goes in.
The second goal, the Montour goal, I know like it looked like Pickard was looking for a call because there was I think it was Nurse got tied up with someone in front. It was not interference. They didn't even challenge it. The third one, the Barkov one, that's where Draisaitl Cass had the puck on his stick kind of to the left of Pickard, and it kind of he bobbled it. And I think Bouchard was up where the left winger usually is. And then all of a sudden they're scrambling to come back. There's a pass over, shot on net, and then Barkov just kind of chips it home for that goal.
Yeah.
And then
that's a Draisaitl one again, where he loses his guy in front. So Bouchard did what he was supposed to do. So I had no qualms with how Bouchard, like to take the player to the corner and to push to the wall. That was his guy. No issue with him at all. When that happens, Draisaitl has to recognize that he goes. Now he doesn't. He doesn't recognize it, and same thing. He gets caught then on the wrong side of the body and can't get back in time. And now Ekholm's coming back to try to help as well.
Right.
But it just arrives too late. So that third one was a Draisaitl one again. So if we're gonna look at a player's overall game here, for a guy that hasn't been scoring, and we've talked about how he needs to get going offensively, and we also have talked at length about how he has played much better defense. Not so much tonight. It was a tough one in the defensive zone for Leon Draisaitl.
Second period, I mean, they had a little bit of a spark from Hyman there. That was a nice goal. And then again, we saw some really nice saves from Bobrovsky. I actually thought that Calvin Pickard was starting to settle in that second period a bit. I texted Gager just to get his opinion on Pickard overall. And then that fourth goal went in that Bennett scored, and I just text Gager, never mind. It doesn't matter.
That's it. Yeah.
Like,
which is unfortunate. Now they lost the game in the first period. So we can't blame the officiating, and I don't want to, and this is not me blaming the officiating, but that's a horrible call. That's that high sticking call is absolutely horrible. Like I mean, if you have a player in front of the net and you get, he gets cross-checked in the back and he falls onto the goalie, that's not goalie interference. Like, you're not giving a cross-checking and a goalie interference. If it was clearly a cross-check that caused the player to fall into the goalie. Like, if you have a player that puts the puck over the glass, but someone was lifting his stick while it was happening, like in impeding on it, the player doesn't get a penalty. Like, if you have a player that gets tripped and falls and goes sliding and trips a player on the team that had the original trip, they're not getting a tripping penalty because they just so to me, it's just, that was a horrible call. Now, again, they lost the game in the first period, not on the officials. But it was unfortunate for that fourth goal because they did finally start to look like they played with some jump. Maybe had a chance of getting back into the game. And then that fourth one just kind of sealed it. It really just sealed the deal at that point. But yeah, I mean, Pickard was okay.
He made some okay saves, but
he was okay.
I'm not inspired by his performance. I mean, he let in 5 goals.
It wasn't an inspired performance.
No.
That's a safe thing to say.
Yeah. All right. 780-218-9999. And then if you're wondering which penalty you're talking about, Cass, that Cass was just describing, it was the Kulak where he got his shoulder spun.
The double minor high stick. He gets grabbed by Barkov. It's a clear penalty. The second they were like, I was like, if they give him a penalty on this is horrible. And then they announced that they're going to review it. But I was just like, how can you? I don't know. It was just it was dumb.
It was a weird sequence. And in house, as the announcement was being made, the ref actually said a double minor to Barkov for holding, and I was like, what the hell's going on here? So it was just a weird 2 minutes, and like, you feel bad for Evan Rodriguez. The guy gets smashed in the mouth with a stick that's flying with some velocity. But you're right, Kulak got spun around, and I don't know. Like, I don't know how easy it is to control your stick when you're being spun around like that and you're
Well,
trying
you
to
get
skate through the
guys
neutral
holding
zone.
and grabbing you and grabbing your arm.
Yeah.
Like, again, it shouldn't have been a penalty, but I don't want to harp on that too much
No,
because
I
they
know.
lost the game before that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Okay, let's dip into the nasty chat and the inbox 780-218-9999 as the Oilers fall 5-1 to the Florida Panthers. Back-to-back losses to the Oilers, 0-4 against the teams out of Florida, and now the Oilers hit the road. They'll be in the New York area starting on Long Island on Tuesday, 5:30 start our time. We will be on the air here at EST at 4 o'clock with the Oil Stream pregame show. All three of those games in the New York area, the Thursday in Jersey, Friday at MSG, all of those are 5:30 starts our time. All right, let's go into some messages. 780-218-9999 if you want to text us, and then nasty chat. Just looking at the nasty chat right now. Oh, kind of quiet. Surprising. Let's go to Oily Doughboy. Haven't heard from Oily Doughboy in a little bit. Good to hear from you, Oily Doughboy. Wore my Terrence Sandwith jersey back-to-back games. Probably never wearing it again. That jersey is bad luck. Terrence Sandwith is a really nice guy still in town, and that's a great obscure Oiler jersey. But if it ain't working, Oily Doughboy, yeah, maybe switch it up. Go to something different. Dirty Curdy with his breakdown of the game. Dirty Curdy, good evening. He says, having faced two top-tier goalies in the last two, the chasm is large in goal. This was a good benchmark to how a heavy battle-tested team will impose its will, running us out of our building. Leon's complete lack of a two-way game is concerning. Brown and McLeod now shows again a little here we go again creeping in. And then Dirty Curdy also throws in. Meanwhile, Jack Shambles is pulled after another fourth spot by the second period. Next demotion is to the Iron League. Time for Holland to get creative. And Dirty Curdy, thank you for the text. Let's go to Taco here. Taco says, woof. That game was not pretty. Not enough energy tonight. Bobrovsky came up big when needed, and the Oilers regressed with some brutal defensive play in their D zone. On to the next one. CB Radio guy texts in, says, Dry had his worst game of the year tonight. He looks lost, and his puck control is awful right now. Lazy defending by Draisaitl, I assume. A lack of confidence. Cass, specifically for Draisaitl, it's the guy that still has over 30 points this season. Didn't have a great start to the year, but still racked up the points. He gets his power play points. But there are some nights where you're just like, what's going on with Leon? And tonight is fair to say the puck was a grenade on his stick. And this is someone who knows how or has mastered the burger flipper. Cass, you're muted. Classic Cass.
Yeah, right back to it. I don't know if I don't think actually I disagree. I don't disagree with that comment that this may have been his worst game of the year.
Yeah, it was not good.
Not threatening offensively, very poor defensively. So it's not even like he was threatening offensively and just creating all kinds of chances and then gave up some in the defensive zone. It's like, no, he didn't do much offensively and he didn't do much defensively either. So
yeah,
it's a tough night for him. And part of that seems to be, I mean, he's struggling a little bit. Now we had seen some good signs, with him jumping in with Fogel and with Janmark, but not tonight. And that was probably because of turnovers and probably because of poor defensive zone play where they weren't able to turn the puck over defensively to try to actually get and create offensively. But not a good night for Draisaitl. Not a good night for him at all. Yeah, I mean, now you lost 2 in a row again here. If you're wanting to crawl out of this thing and stop the bleeding right away, when you head out east, I mean, Draisaitl's got to be better. He absolutely has to be better. And to touch on it, I can't remember if it was in this text or another one that you read. Brown not being able to create anything offensively.
Yeah,
it wasn't a problem until it is, right? You look at a game like today and you're like, well, okay, well now it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone else is scoring and everyone's chipping in and everyone's playing good defense, I mean, that's okay. You have some time to work into it, but not being able to generate anything again tonight, just another thing that hurts you.
Yep, absolutely. A couple of texts in the nasty chat, which is kind of picking up a little bit. This one from Sports Guy says Draisaitl completely lost defensively, same as the third goal by Tampa. Sports Guy, we're with you on that one for sure. Gerg writes in, says they called the penalty based on Rodriguez leg kicking like he had his eye removed. He ends up missing one shift. Yeah, he was back out there pretty quickly after it checked up on him, and he was okay. This one from some stranger who says, I think this is in regard to Pickard. He certainly didn't let in any soft goals like Skinner did. I don't know.
Skinner let in soft goals last game against Tampa.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But you know, it was like his last 7 games before that, he was fantastic. So, or 6 games, whatever. During the whole streak, he played great and didn't let any soft ones. So I feel that's kind of an unnecessary body shot there, Adam. But yeah, complainer's going to complain. So
yeah. Penner's Pancake says put Kane back with Leon. I liked Kane tonight. He was mixing it up. Maybe he's feeling better. Feeling better.
Yeah, he had that one nice hit, nice hit on the half wall in the defensive zone.
Dr. Gonzo texts in via the nasty chat, says activation of the defense has increased with Koff for sure. Would have been nice to cash a couple of those in. Ekholm had a breakaway stopped by Bobrovsky. Gagner gets a breakaway, gets a penalty shot. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to open Bobrovsky up and then on his forehand tuck it between the legs.
Well, he I don't know if you caught this, but he just about blows an edge.
Did he? He was taking like he was like hitting all the gates down the Giants'
It was the last one. It cost him some speed. It was his outside edge and his right foot kind of catches a little bit and causes him to stumble. And I think that threw him off for what he wanted to do. I don't even necessarily think what he tried there, to open him up and pull the forehand and go 5-hole, which is what he tried to do.
Yeah.
And it always looks, when you try, there's guys talk about this. When you try to go 5-hole and you miss, it looks really bad. Like it always looks really bad.
Live, I thought it looked bad. Then I watched the replay. I was like, that's what I saw.
It wasn't bad. No, it looks bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, but I do think, I don't think that's originally what he was intending to do. I think catching a little bit of that heel edge, probably in a rut on the ice. So probably just got stuck in a rut and gave him a little bit of a speed wobble. Not that he was going fast, but it was enough, I think, to throw him off for what he wanted to do, which was just an interesting thing. And unfortunate, again, that he can't cash on that, because with that extra penalty, the only chance you had to get back into that game at that point is you score one there, and then you score one on the power play, and then all of a sudden, maybe you have a sniff at getting back into it. I mean, it still would have been a little bit of a stretch and really, really difficult to do. But yeah. I mean, he had that chance. Ekholm had the chance. Nuge had the chance in the first. Kulak. I can't remember who did he make the save on the rebound? McDavid shot off the
Nugent
far pad.
Hopkins.
Was that another one on RNH? Okay, I couldn't remember who.
Nugent Hopkins. Yeah.
So a couple of times they had opportunities to score, and Bobrovsky comes up huge. Again, they were already down at that point, but yeah, I mean, Bobrovsky had a big game.
Made some really, really good saves. 38 save performance for goalie Bob tonight in the 5-1 Oilers loss to the Florida Panthers. Gazzola and Kassian with you, YouTube Trev. Keeping things running smoothly back at ESTHQ 780-218-9999 to text us. And then if you're watching on our YouTube channel, hit us up at the nasty chat. People not happy tonight. Late start, and it's 2 losses in a row for the Oilers as they now hit the road for a stretch of games. This one from Ryan, who is for some reason labeled as Juan in here. Ryan says, Tommy, they played like the team Christmas parties tonight. Yay, 2 more Russian goalies coming up. Thanks from Ryan. And that 2 more Russian goalies are Sorokin and Shesterkin, with New Jersey sandwiched in between those 2 Russian goalies. This one says, last 2 games sure looked like the first 12. Jekyll and Hyde, no free pass for the 8-game win streak when you're still a 500 team with a crappy goals against average. Expectations were to be significantly better. Need another win streak and losses that don't have the other team scoring 3+ goals. That's on the goalies and team defending. That text from C. Hendo. So we do know that it will be Stuart Skinner next game. Basically, we had Chris Knobloch say that this morning, and we'll probably see Pickard again against the New Jersey Devils, where he played extremely well against them on Sunday. All right, this one from Scalding Gourd says, do you know how often the dirty players in the league would use this as an advantage if it wasn't called this way? Every time they were grabbed, they would be free to accidentally, in air quotes, swing away. It sucks for ones like this where Kulak didn't mean it, but the rule is necessary. Anything on that, Cass?
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's pretty evident, and no one in dirty players as well. I like no one's trying to swing. Like how could you time that? Like what?
Yeah,
Like no,
that was just
I
unfortunate.
disagree with that. I understand why the rule is there, and I get it. But even according to the rules, I don't think that should have been a high stick. Like
I mean, if you're gonna call a holding penalty on Barkov and then a high, like it was a really weird
yeah,
sequence, and the way Rodriguez went down. One of the texters pointed out he was kicking his feet and stuff. I'm sure it hurt like a you know what, but a little more dramatic than
yeah.
although when you get a stick in the face, like it feels like crap. But
Well, you
and
don't
at
and you
first
don't
you're
know.
always worried.
And he could
Yeah,
have
yeah,
there
you
could
don't
have been
know.
blood, could have been a cut and just one
Yeah,
that they glue. Like you don't always have to
yeah,
stitch if it's a little cut. And any cuts, if it's like your forehead or your cheek or anything, like those bleed like crazy. I mean,
yeah,
there's a reason that the professional wrestlers, when they do the chair thing, they just nick themselves,
yeah,
or the referee nicks them with the razor above the eye, and there's just blood everywhere, and it's just like a tiny little nick. It just you bleed like crazy from there. So, and you don't know, and it could be like it impacted your vision for a second, and you're like, you don't know how bad it is or what it is. So I don't want to disparage him going down and kicking like crazy, because he,
yeah.
for all
That's
he
fair.
knows, he may have thought that he had a a major injury and an
Right?
injury to his eye or something like that. So I don't want to knock that. I don't want to knock that.
No,
But
good
and
point.
actually, you know what, Tommy, we probably shouldn't spend any more time talking on this, because again, it didn't, at that point the game was already, I don't want to say it was lost, but there were already the damage was done already at that point, and you were just trying to get back into it. So it is what it is. Again,
Yep.
I didn't like the call, but
Yeah. The game was out of reach at that point. So,
yeah.
okay. 780-218-9999. And we will be hearing from Knobloch, Kane, and Zach Hyman. YouTube Trev is working on that. Cass, we got a couple more minutes with you, and then we'll say goodnight to you and let you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I see that you are going to be playing a video game with Ryan Rashog tonight. That's
No,
cool.
not tonight. No, not tonight. No, I right when I was getting this set up, I downloaded it, so I just clicked on it.
What
Yeah, no,
game?
he's been hounding me actually. I think it was ever since we talked on air with with you, Trev, about playing some Fortnite. He's like, "Hey, have you ever played this other game?" And I was like, "No, I've never played." And he's like, "Hey, we need more players, so you should download it." And then he actually texted me again yesterday. He's like, "Hey, we're playing tonight." And I didn't play last night. Some family stuff going on, but
What game is?
no,
I know what game you're talking about because he plays it like really hardcore.
it's apparently
Yeah.
super hardcore. So I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm gonna Insurgency, I think it's called.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't
They
know.
turn
Like
up
if it's really hardcore, I don't know. I don't know.
really
But I told him
quickly.
I'd give it a go. So
Yeah. I think you'd be right perfect for that because really quickly, I'll just say he's shown me videos of him and his buddies playing it. Like they turn off the map, they turn off like all the like how many bullets you have left and
oh
all that stuff.
jeez.
Like they play it super hardcore. And so have fun. Have fun, Cass.
Maybe I'll just play it once. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I told Shaggy I'd try it, so I'll try it sometime with him
There you
at
go.
some point. At some point.
Fair enough. Dave Texan says, Tommy, I think Kane has to switch back to the 2002 stick. He just went to the white all white stick. It's the same stick from what he told me, just in an all white design, and he has his logo. He has an Evander Kane logo stamped on there too. Um, Dave, I think with Kane, I think it's like I didn't mind his game. I think he is banged up, and he's been using that stick while he's been a little bit nicked up. So maybe there's a few goals in those bad boys, but I was surprised that he went to the all white with the white tape because usually he was a black stick with black tape kind of guy. Maybe it comes around. Simon says we simply need a number one goaltender. trade whatever we have to form the farm and futures to get one. This team will not succeed otherwise. That text from Simon. This one says Oilers do not have a defensive structure. They need a goalie. They will not be in playoffs. Their forwards do not know how to play defensively. They suck.
Tommy, how many games in a row did they win?
8.
And how was their defensive zone over the course of that streak?
Very good.
So let's not jump on, completely jump off the bandwagon now and be like, well, no, they still don't have a defensive zone structure, because that's not true. Yeah, Stuart Skinner is a starting goalie.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna leave it at that. I just disagree.
780-218-9999. Byron says, rough night, nothing going on both sides of the puck. 29 has to be better. Brown is invisible. They didn't come out of the gates ready to play. Seeing Calgary win tonight just added salt to the wound. That one's from Byron out of Winnipeg. And Cass, on Brown and McLeod, someone texted, and I think it was on the Nasty Chat, that they saw McLeod actually finish a couple of checks, and he did. They weren't like boomers by any means. He's not that type of player, but those two need to provide more. We have talked about Brown's injury, and we have talked about McLeod not, getting through training camp because he was hurt all of training camp. But I mean, we're 30 games in, or getting close to 30
we're past
games
that.
In.
We're past that. We are absolutely past that. There's no, at this point, there's no more. Well, it takes a long time to come back from an injury. I mean, if you wanted to say give him 10 games, give him 15 games, sure. We're long past that. And the same thing for McLeod. Like the first couple of weeks, let's give him 3 weeks even, Tommy. First 3 weeks to say, okay, you missed training camp. Here's 3 weeks to get back into it. It's been more than 3 weeks, and you do need more from those guys. And as I said before, them not scoring, not being able to contribute, it's not a problem until it is a problem. And tonight's an example of a game where it's a problem.
Yes.
Where Draisaitl's not having a good night, Bobrovsky's playing well, and you need some guys up and down the lineup to find a way to contribute, and they both don't again tonight. So yeah, that's from a long-term standpoint, that's a problem again. And if they get right back on the horse, and if they play really well again on the Eastern swing, and those guys still aren't scoring and they're finding ways to win, well, then again, it's not a problem until you run into a tough night, and it is again, which if we're looking at the grand scheme of things, is like, ultimately it does become a problem, because if we look forward and to hopefully having a wild card spot and being in the playoffs, well, you're going to need those guys to find ways to contribute. And for the amount of salary you have tied up in, not so much in McLeod, but in Brown, you need more from him. You absolutely need more from him. And there's some good things. Penalty killing, sure. Yep, for sure. But yeah, I mean, listen, we can talk negatively about it today because they lost and because they didn't score enough goals. So yeah, it is a problem.
H.E. Pennypacker, great name. H.E. Pennypacker says Oilers got goalied early after being goalied last game, and need a few of those on our side once in a while. H.E. Pennypacker, I'm not going to argue with that. You do need your goalie to make some big saves at crucial times, and they've had some good goaltending, and you got to give credit to Skinner during that run, and Pickard had a good game on Sunday. But it'd be nice to have a Bobrovsky who's capable of elevating his game to the level he has, especially in the postseason last year. But right now, the Oilers don't really have that, but they've got a guy in Stuart Skinner who's been steady. And could he be better? Yes, absolutely. And Pickard is a backup at best. Okay, Cass, I want to throw this final question to you. It comes in via our inbox, and it simply says, how would you grade the coaching tonight and the decision to start Pickard?
That's a tough one, because it's not like we can look at Pickard and say he's the reason that they lost this game, but he didn't help either. If they had the same result, if they had the same result and they had Skinner, people would be absolutely losing their minds on Skinner starting from a fan standpoint. So I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that, Tommy. That's a tough one. Good question and a tough question. How would
Knob
we rate the coaching tonight?
Knobloch mixed up his lines a little bit too.
Yeah,
I think in the second period, maybe to get a spark going, and
a couple of shifts with
it didn't.
Draisaitl and McDavid together.
Yeah,
Not didn't run it
with
the whole
Kane.
time, or
Yeah.
with Kane. Sorry,
No, it was McDavid,
it was
Draisaitl, and
yeah. Sorry,
Kane. Yep.
McDavid, Draisaitl, and
Yep.
Kane. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well then let's take a look ahead to Tuesday on Long Island. They begin a road trip. They're going to be gone, or they're not going to play at home for a while. Obviously, their next home game being January 2nd against the Flyers. So essentially, it's a 6-game road trip, but they're off to New York for 5 days. Play 3 games in there. Then they come home. They've got a Christmas break where they have 5 days, no games, and then they're back at it in California on the 28th, and then they begin that one in San Jose. Then they're off to LA on the 30th, and then they wrap it up in Anaheim on New Year's Eve. So, Cass, we're looking at this game on Tuesday against the Islanders. The Islanders are not a powerhouse by any means, and the Oilers are looking to bounce back. So, how do you assess what Edmonton's got to do in a day of practice and then a flight over to New York City?
Yeah. Well, you have to have some kind of an intervention for Leon Draisaitl. Maybe that's you have everyone line up and everyone walks up and gives him a hug and tells him something that he does well. Maybe that's it, but
Okay.
whatever you got to do, you got to find a way to get that guy going.
Yes.
Got to find a way to get that guy some confidence in his game 5-on-5, especially when the puck is on a stick in the offensive zone. But if I'm thinking through from a coaching standpoint, you're going to be talking about and showing video of your defensive zone, because that's an area you can have dramatic improvement from after this game, specifically with your wingers and centermen included too, but just on sorting out the danger from the point against teams that do have guys that jump. Now, I don't think the Islanders are quite as aggressive in that manner. They're a defense first team, as they have been for a number of years, but overall, that awareness and those lines, straight lines, stop and start lines, staying between your the player you're guarding in the net, that's what you need to be working on. So just continue to work on that defensive zone, and continue to try to just reset back into the feelings, the good feelings that you had, Tommy, on the win streak. Bring that back out.
Just an update on the Islanders. They did lose in Montreal tonight, and they have put together a nice stretch in their last 10 where they're 6-2-2, but things are they're pretty tight in the Eastern Conference and the Metro Division. The Islanders in that stretch have kind of worked their way up the standings. They're third in the Metro, but you know what? They're only 3 points out of being on the outside looking in when it comes to the wild cards. So it's going to be interesting. The Oilers did beat the Islanders 4-1 here in Edmonton last month. So they do have a goal differential of -6. So they're not like, I'm not looking at them going, oh, look out for the Islanders. They're a steady team. And like you said, defense first, but Cass, that's a game you can win, right?
Yep. Oh yeah. 100%. It's a winnable game. It's one of those games where if you play like you're capable of playing as a team, you should win. This isn't playing the Golden Knights or the Colorado Avalanche or the Dallas Stars, the Boston Bruins, like those type of teams where it's like, well, you could play a good game and they still may beat you because they're a really good team. That's not the New York Islanders. Now, if you're sleeping, if you're sloppy, if you don't have energy, if you don't work like you need to work, then they 100% will beat you because they're a good enough team to do that. But really, for the Edmonton Oilers, if you come out and you execute, you should beat this hockey team. But that's still a tall order. I mean, it can be challenging to do that night after night. We saw a whole bunch of games where they did it. They did it to a certain extent against Tampa as well. They did not tonight. So need to get right back up on that horse and come out with another good, fast north-south hockey game against the New York Islanders.
Cass, you had a good, fast, solid north-south show tonight, and I appreciate you for it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friend. I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Absolutely, buddy. I look forward to it.
All right. There's our game analyst, Matt Kassian, helping us break down the Oilers' 5-1 loss at the hands of the Florida Panthers. You can keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. We're going to go inside the Oilers' locker room here. I'll get to more of the texts, and then we also will have YouTube Trev give us the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. All right, YouTube Trev, who are we going to hear from first?
Let's hear from the goal scorer tonight. Here he is, Zach Hyman, after the 5-1 loss. defensive, I don't know if it was a weakness or confusion, but he just felt like the defensive zone, especially in front of the net, was not what it had been. Did you kind of see the same thing?
Yeah, obviously a sloppy game from us, especially at the end of the first there. It's 1-0, and then we give up 2 within, I think, 2 minutes. And just plays that we can control, just getting outnumbered at the net, and just not defending the way we have been. So it's a tough one. We got to move past it and get ready for this New York trip.
You don't want to necessarily say you're due for a game like this, but it happens, right? So it's not necessarily a symptom of something else.
Yeah, it's one game. I mean, I think we played some really good hockey of late. You never want to play a bad game. It happens, right? It's on us to make sure it doesn't happen again. Yeah, you got to nip it in the bud quick and get back to playing the way that we've obviously shown we can.
So this team's really good at finishing. The last couple of games, you ran into some pretty hot goaltending. Was that running into hot goaltending, or could you have been better around the net in those situations?
The Tampa game probably, but this game we didn't deserve to win this one. So game that we got to be better in, and we know we can be. So just move past it and go to the next one.
Yeah, Zach, just to follow up, do you feel like you guys got the same amount of quality chances in this game compared to the Tampa game, or was that a little bit lacking too?
I think we had our looks in this game, but I think in the Tampa game we set like a record number of shots, and I think that was more of a game that was a winnable game for us. This one, obviously, I think we think every game is winnable, but this one we didn't show our best, and we didn't play to our standards. So when you do that, sometimes you win, but most of the time you're probably not leaving the rink happy.
All right, there's Zach Hyman, the lone goal scorer for the Oilers tonight, -1 with 1 hit, 4 shots in 20 minutes and 9 seconds of work. Did give the Oilers a bit of hope in the second period, but ultimately it was all for naught in the 5-1 loss. All right, who's next? YouTube, Trev?
Let's go to Evander Kane.
Quality defending. Did you guys get away a little bit tonight from the things that have made you successful, the middle of the ice in particular?
Yeah, we were soft in our own end and gave up the middle of the ice too easy.
So you guys have been really good with that lately. On a night like this where it happens, you feel like it's a one-off, or where did that come from, you think?
I don't know where it came from. Hopefully it's a one-off. I think we know we can be better in that area and clean that up.
Ben, there's been a lot of juggling of lines, and the middle six. Have you found it difficult to find some chemistry with your line mates or as a group as a whole in that regard?
I think we're as a team trying to find some offense, obviously, in a game like that, and yeah.
So you had 8 wins in a row, and now it's 2 losses. And are you a believer in momentum that these things are carry on and have to be fought out of? Or?
Well, we don't want this type of momentum to carry on, obviously, right? So we want to end that and start some positive momentum, hopefully, on this road trip here.
It was a road trip. I don't know if it's good timing for a road trip, but it was a long homestand. It was kind of nice to get away for a little bit just before the holidays and try and reel off a few wins.
Yeah, it'll be good to get on the road, go to New York City this time of the year. It's always fun. So hopefully we can regroup tomorrow and get ready for a travel day on Monday and have a good road trip heading into Christmas.
What are the things you focus on to try and get your own, offense going, your own game going in that way, Evander, if it's not there for a stretch for you?
Just keep doing, just trying to be positive and bring what I can to the team, offensively, defensively, blocking a shot, finishing a check, whatever. So try to bring all those things at the same time every night. You're not going to score every night, so that's just the way it is.
You guys built up, with this streak, felt like your game was much more looking like the way you guys wanted it to. 2 wins isn't going to throw this group off, would you say, in terms of
2 losses,
the confidence?
Right?
Sorry,
yeah.
2 losses. Yeah, thanks.
No, I don't think. Well, I certainly hope not. I think we know we can put stretches together. You're not going to win 8 in a row 6 or 7 times a year, but with where we were in the standings, we needed to put a big streak together. We did. We've dropped 2, but like I said, we got to get back in the win column on this road trip and finish off hopefully on a positive note heading into Christmas.
There's Evander Kane, 5 hits, 3 shots on net. Outside of that, nothing else in terms of points or anything like that. Even 17:53 time on ice for the Oilers winger, and a little bit physical too. He even had a moment there where there was a scrum in the corner. The game was out of hand at that point, and he got into it with Tkachuk. Tkachuk went in there. I think he went and gave a slash to Darnell Nurse and caught Kane saying "Don't F around" to Tkachuk with kind of a grin on his face. So I tweeted it out, and some people are getting mad at me, and they're saying, "You tell your team." I don't play for the team. I'm just telling you what I saw. It was a moment that was kind of interesting between two guys who have a history against one another. That's it. That's all, in a game where things weren't working at all for the guys in orange and blue tonight. Can't please them all, Trev. Can't please them all, my friend. All right. One more time inside the locker room before we get to Chris Knobloch. Who's up next?
We have Brett Kulak in the queue, and here he is.
Pretty well for a stretch here. What do you think happened? How did you get away from that tonight?
Yeah, like you say, we've been happy with how we've been playing and kind of got our season back on track here the last couple of weeks. But you know, the games keep coming fast, so you got to be ready to play all the time. And teams are good; they're hungry. You know, they weren't happy with their game coming into this one, and yeah, they were hungry around the net, and we weren't on our A game, and yeah, it cost us.
2 straight games you play goalies who like are, lights out. I wonder how I don't know if it's frustrating or just a challenge you have to deal with when you get goalies like Vasilevsky, 2 games ago and this most recent game.
Yeah, it's like you say, they both played pretty impressive, and but again, it's up to us, and we know how to score goals, but it's just about making them work. Tonight he obviously made some big saves that the game could have been a lot different had he not made those saves. So yeah.
Good teams shut it down at 1 or 2. Don't let it kind of roll beyond that. You guys have been that team before. You feel like you are this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight is we weren't happy with it. We came out and we weren't good right from the start. So yeah, it's something you got to look at it and work on it and get our game back.
How did you see your penalty, considering Barkov spun you around? What were you supposed to do there?
It's a tough play, for me, and I'm not going to sit here and bark at the refs because they it's a hard job for them to do too, and they don't maybe know exactly what's going on in the moment too. But that's a tough one because there's not much you can not much.
For the power play goal.
Yeah, exactly.
So generally speaking, fans tend to worry more than players do in these situations. Do you guys look at it as we've been playing really well, even in the last game we lost? This was just a one-off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's you got to bounce back after losses, and that's the next step now. So
there you go. There's Brett Kulak. Yeah, he got that 4-minute high sticking penalty where he did get spun around by Alexander Barkov. Kulak, I think he had a couple of offensive opportunities as well. Definitely jumping up lately into the rush, and was in on the forecheck a couple of games ago that helped lead to a goal by, I think it was Derek Ryan's or Sam Gagner's goal. I think it was the game winner by Sam Gagner a couple of games ago. But yeah, Brett Kulak there. Unfortunate. The Panthers do score on that power play opportunity off of his high stick, and ultimately the game was out of hand for the Oilers at that point. So good to hear from Kulak. Pretty honest and straightforward about things, and he doesn't really hold back. A good guy overall, having a pretty consistent season. Rough start for him, but for the most part, he's been steady on that third pair. Okay, let's go into the coach's room. Or actually, he had to step out because After Hours was in the Hall of Fame. But here is Chris Knobloch following his team's 5-1 loss to Florida.
Kind of stuck out for you because the second period was strong despite maybe the score not looking like it.
Yeah, no, I think in the first period we had our chances. I know Nuge had 2 grade A scoring chances. I think we had a couple more there, but I don't think we defended well enough. I don't think there was enough urgency to protect the the slot. We made some mistakes and they forced us into doing that, and that's going to be part of hockey. But I just didn't like how we reacted to those. And you knew we were going to get a very hungry, determined team tonight. And, losing their previous two, getting shut out, we knew it wasn't going to be easy, and they certainly were ready to play.
Have you found it a little bit difficult to find the right kind of mix in your middle six right now?
Yeah, we've been kind of exchanging lines there a little bit, moving guys around. We'd like to get a little more production there. I think our fourth line has been chipping in. Obviously, the first line's been scoring at a tremendous rate. Tonight they only had one, but they could have had many more. Yeah, we're trying to find a little more balanced scoring through there and generate a little more. But, yeah, we'll just have to evaluate that.
You said a few games ago that you didn't want to break up lines that were going, but if you have two that kind of aren't and two that are, do you feel like you might have to kind of switch up the lines that are going a little bit too?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to evaluate that. I'm not sure what we're going to do right now.
With the defending, was there a common denominator in the mistakes that you saw? Like, was there something you weren't doing overall?
Just come back, protecting the slot. A little more urgency to take away those plays. I don't think it was turnovers. Turnovers are always going to happen. I don't think there was more turnovers than our typical game. But it was just when there was a mistake or they had pucks, we were just weren't protecting the dangerous ice.
So the 8-game win streak is now a 2-game losing streak, and the 2 losses were very different. But is there a symptom of something here that needs to be nipped in the bud?
I think, in our 2 games, you think about how many goals we could have scored. I think we're unfortunate. There could have been more goals scored in the Tampa game. And tonight, I thought we deserved more than one. And I just think we just had to get a little more urgency playing defensive hockey. When things are going well, you often forget about those details and what made you successful. We just need to get back playing a little bit better defensive hockey.
Do you see it as being goalied or needing to bear down a little bit more on some of those chances?
The first period, Pick had absolutely no chance on those. Them coming right down the slot with guys all crowding him. I don't put any blame on him in the first period. Like, we're down 3-0. No issues with him on those plays.
I mean, offensively, like when you guys aren't getting a lot of chances but not getting a lot of goals, is that just run into a hot one, or do you need to be better around the net?
I think the 2 goalies that we played right now are played spectacular. Obviously, they're elite goaltenders, and it's such a short period of time when you do 2 games and you don't score goals. If it's over a 8 or 10 game stretch, then you have a better indication on do we need to bear down more. But right now, it's we're generating our chances. Well, they'll start going in.
Chris, Derek Ryan didn't look. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but did he play in the third period?
He had his collision. He had probably 2 more shifts after that, and he did not play in the third.
Big picture, this home stand. Maybe just a thought on overall where you guys finished up here and how you feel about where the team's at right now, bigger picture.
I thought we made the most out of our home stretch here. Would we have liked these last 2 games? Yes. Do we feel like we could have had 1 or if not 2 of these games? Yes. But we made up some ground, and now we're going to have to do it again. So we got a lot of season left. I think we're still in a very good position.
Just a quick update. Do you have any update rather on Derek Ryan? Just to follow up on the previous question.
No, I do not. I'll see with him tonight. I'm sure he's getting evaluated right now, but I don't think it's anything long term.
And did you? How close, or was there any consideration to challenging their second goal with Tkachuk in the crease there?
He was in the crease. He didn't make contact. It was difficult, but we chose not to do it, obviously.
All right, there's Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch after his team's 5-1 loss to the Florida Panthers. Touched on it. Daniel Nugent-Bowman, they're asking him about the potential of a challenge on the goal against where Tkachuk went through, but he had a good look at it, and the video team also probably gave Knobloch and the coaching staff a heads up that it was probably a good goal. As well as Derek Ryan, I think he got caught up with Kevin Stenlund around the Panthers net, and Knobloch said he didn't finish the game. Will be reevaluated. Ryan and Hamblin and Gagne had been a pretty good fourth line for the Oilers, so you hope that everything's okay, and it doesn't sound like it's anything that's too bad, but you know what? Things can change overnight. Injuries can get worse. Sometimes they get better, but we'll see what happens with Derek Ryan. The Oilers are on the ice tomorrow at noon for practice. All right, keep those texts coming in. We've got a few minutes here before we wrap. Time now to get to the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven, understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram page, Damon Bunting Real Estate YouTube. Trev, who is our Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game?
Sounds good, Tommy. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it nice and short tonight. It's been a very long day. Not of a whole lot to pick from, really. It was kind of a meh game, really. Like there wasn't any standout players. Honorable mention Bobrovsky. He had a few really good saves. Carter Verhaeghe, he looked really good, but I'm going to pick an Oiler tonight. It's going to be Zach Hyman, the solo goal scorer for the Edmonton Oilers. We've said it all year. He's just an absolute workhorse, probably one of, if not, just right up there with Connor. And as of late, he's probably been, second to Connor, the most consistent Oiler all season. Dusty was giving him lots of love throughout the whole week. Just you can't say anything bad about the guy. He competes, he battles. You're always going to get 100% from Zachary Hyman. And that was on full display today as well with his one goal. So Zachary Hyman, you are the Damon Bunting Player of the Game. Good job, Zach.
Nicely done, YouTube Trev. Way to grind it out today, pal. All right, let's wrap up with some text here. This one says, do we still have a 60-plus goal scorer that won a Rocket Trophy recently and a 50-goal scorer on this team? Where did they go? Yeah, they've been quiet the last couple of games. Some big saves, especially tonight by Bobrovsky. Obviously, Vasilevsky with some great stops and 57 shots faced on Thursday. This text says, did you see the fourth goal Vasi gave up tonight? He puts a wall up against us and then allows that one in Calgary. Teams really wake up to play McDavid. The effect is real, man. Yes, very true. Very true. Another text says, let's talk about us getting quote-unquote goalied. Big issue I've noticed, and it's been an issue for years. Our guys can't seem to hit the top half of the net. We always seem to shoot low, which makes it way easier for goalies to stretch out and make desperation saves. A great example is the Hyman rebound chance with 3 minutes roughly left. We need to start shooting for the top half of the net. Yeah, there was some huge saves by Bobrovsky today, and the rebound shots weren't getting up high enough, certainly. And Bobrovsky sprawled out, taking away the angle, all that good stuff. He's capable of doing that even at 35 years of age or 34 years of age. He's a Vezina caliber goaltender for sure. And he showed it again tonight. And yes, the Oilers did get goalied to a certain extent. I thought that these last two performances by Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky were like true iterations of getting goalied compared to what we saw earlier in the season. Was it Casey DeSmith with the Canucks? Had a lot of saves in that one game at home against the Oilers. And then there was another backup that had a pretty good night where he made a lot of saves against Edmonton. I think, there was a lot of perimeter shots those nights. It felt like the Oilers weren't particularly good at that time of the year. And then they weren't that great tonight, but they did get some great opportunities, couldn't convert. And then honestly, the Tampa game, they were playing well. First two periods, they played really good. Third period, a couple of soft ones on Skinner, and then Vasilevsky goalied them for sure. I thought those two games that we just saw from the Oilers, they more so got goalied than earlier in the season when they were facing backups. That's just my opinion. Not everyone will agree, but when you get Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky doing what they did to the Oilers, I think that's more so getting goalied than a guy like DeSmith coming up, making the saves that he should on a Oilers team that was playing pretty bad at that point. All right, Shanzi, you will get the last word tonight. Shanzi texts in, says, how much longer until we run out of patience on Connor Brown? Enough with the recovering from injury. BSM Gagne has 2 new hips. Just saying. Shanzi. As for the patience question, Shanzi, with Connor Brown, I think that it has already run up. I think that would be the consensus among Oilers fans. I'm certainly waiting for him to show up offensively. Hasn't happened. Gave him the benefit of the doubt when he hit the post on a couple of games recently, and also had that goal taken away due to Vander Kane getting interfering with the goaltender. Gagne has been a bit of a spark plug with a couple of surgically repaired hips, and good on him in his time as a member of the Oilers. Third go around for Sam. But the patience thing, none left for Connor Brown, and Gagne has been good in his time. Although he is not the same Sam Gagne that we saw the first go round, maybe even the second go round with the Oilers. Let's see what's going on in the nasty chat. Everyone's kind of winding it down. I think that's our cue to say good night. Be sure on your way out to hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate it very, very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for tuning into the Oil Stream post-game show. To those that did it via our audio stream on TuneIn or just on our website, thank you as always. And to those that tuned in to watch on the Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel, appreciate it so much. For YouTube, Trev, Matt Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying have yourselves a great night. Ciao for now. We'll see you on Tuesday.